You better be good.
Did I mention who you got? I didn't have.
Okay.
Because I went through the packets myself.
That's why I wanted to give it to you earlier.
Yeah. We're going.
We're,
Thank you, man.
that's gonna be our first thing that we're gonna bring up. Is that- Yes,
Okay, when are we gonna vote on?
next Monday. Call this meeting to order. It is Monday, December the 11th, 2023, 6 p.m. We have a work study session. City Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilwoman Portis. Here. Councilman Dodd,
Here.
Councilman Gilmer,
Here.
Councilman Baker,
Here.
Councilman Price,
Here.
Councilman Sutter,
Here.
Councilman Bell,
Present.
Councilwoman Sherman. Here.
There being a quorum, I call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilman Bell, would you lead us, please? Everyone move it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Yeah. City Council, if there's two agenda items that I want to modify. One is I want to move the budget discussion to being first on our agenda. Our city treasurer is staying over, working to come and answer any questions about the budget. And I'd like to make that the first item of business. And the second item is the Citizen of the Year. I want to add that to the discussion for the committees for recommendations and such under miscellaneous business. Community outreach. And we'll add it to the community outreach. Entertain a motion to make those modifications to the agenda. Make a motion. We got a first,
Bill, and I'll second.
and
Price.
sorry. We'll call you Bill too.
Bill.
So we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. So, council, this was sent out via email last Friday. This is our mid-year budget numbers that we got all the way to the end of November. We do have two summary pages that kind of breaks down everything into a simplified format as comparison for the enterprise side and also for the city side. And then it's broken down by each department. So I'll open up the floor now unless the treasurer has any type of statement. Otherwise, I'd open up the floor now for any questions about what's been presented. And if we need to go through the budget, I'm more than happy to go through it line by line or department by department and answer any questions. I don't want to rush this process any at all, but I'll let you know from a standpoint from the administration side of things is I believe that we are doing extremely well. On the city side, if you look at the expenditures, what's been budgeted, 2,620,305. We've only spent 1,106,656 cents, leaving a balance of 1,513,704.46, which means that we spent less than 50% of our budget for 6 months of our budget year, which is a good target. On the revenue side, As far as the revenue, we budgeted $2,570,675. Monies received, revenues received, $1,142,756.67, leaving a balance of $1,427,918.33. Taking in mind that when you go through and look at the budget, we have not received the majority of our property taxes yet this year. So that's the big difference in that. So looking on the city side, from my perspective on the summary, everything's right in line where we need to be. On the enterprise side, the summary sheet, as far as revenue, we budgeted $2,789,175. This year, we've received $1,184,890.47, leaving a balance of $1,604,284.53. So we have not really reached our 50% target for the revenue side yet on that, and we can dive into this deeper to figure out where that's at and explain that. However, on the expenditure side, we budgeted $2,738,027.65. We've spent $1,952,580.59, leaving a balance of $785,447.06. And we can explain that. We did major improvements to our water distribution, our water treatment plant, and our wastewater. A lot of the DNR findings that were brought out from the audit inspection that they conducted, that's been in place or been issues for the last 2 years to 1.5 years. We are tackling them one at a time, and it costs money to do that. And we do have money in reserves and so forth to make that happen. So we can dive into these deeper as the council wants to drill down, and that's why we have the treasurer here. So if there's any questions on any of the line items, on any of the accounts of the departments,
As a note as well, we have already paid our COP payment for December. We already paid it in November, so it would be on the mid-year budget as well.
so COP is our certificate of participation for the Georgia Street project and the stormwater project. So we're on the hook for that for the next 18 to 20 years roughly to make that payment. And this budget shows that we've already made that payment. So
For the mid-year.
for the mid-year. Didn't mean to step on you.
No, there's.
So council, is there any questions on the city side, the general admin and income budget or expense budget? That's the first 3 pages. And we're not taking a vote tonight. We got until next week, so don't feel like you're being rushed on anything, because I want you to take the time and to understand what we are presenting in front of you.
Next week or the next meeting.
Next week, the 18th is our next meeting.
That's right.
The next budget department is the animal control income and expense. Any questions on animal control? Like I said, you're gonna have time for a week before next week, so. Police department, excuse me.
You guys can call or email back to the email that I sent to ask any questions. If you guys want to drill down, then I can pull it up at that time or if Monday.
The next department is police department income budget and expense budget.
Have the new recruits been included in the budget for the second half of the fiscal year?
So the new recruits, the academy is being funded through a grant. So there's zero cost to the city. The only cost that we have is payroll. All their fuel and mileage for, driving back and forth. And ammunition. Because we gotta provide ammunition for their training. So to answer your question, yes, it's been accounted for in the budget. So instead of me arbitrarily going on to the next department, so any council person that says they're ready to go to the next department, let me know. Cause I want it to be on your timeline, not mine. If you're ready. Ready? All right. The next department is code enforcement, income and expense budget. This year we budgeted to have excuse me, I was thinking about animal control. Animal control, we budgeted to have it staffed, fully staffed. Code enforcement, if you haven't noticed anything this year from any of the constituents, one of the things, the big highlights is, a real push to clean up our properties in town and do it in a fair and consistent due process way of doing it. All right, move on to the next department, streets, income budget and expense budget. One of the big things in this budget may or may not reflect the street improvements that we have approved to do on the various streets for overlay. Because of the weather and the timeline that's been pushed until this spring when the weather improves. One thing to reflect upon too, is that for the most part, there might be a little bit of a difference in interpretation, but the streets and the distribution departments are staffed like it's never been staffed before. I won't say we're full staff, but we are more full staff today than we ever have been over the last several years.
I have a question on the office expense telephone. 60.300-14.
That is for their cell phone, for the standby. Oh, no, the streets, that is for their internet. It's telephone and internet together, so they have internet out there.
So, and Clinton, you might be able to answer that, but I believe the internet service was improved and we now have cameras out there monitoring the property and the buildings where we did.
That's all right.
But
We also, we added on to that also, so animal control has internet at their facility off of our internet, so we're not having two separate bills, so we have, yeah, there's coverage, camera coverage on the whole facility, front, back, all the buildings.
And now we do have a code or something we put in, so we know who's on the computer on the internet at all times.
We have a key to a door and I'm the only one that has a key to it. So I will be the only one on my computer.
Any other questions on the street budget? Next, department grounds.
That we have enough money left in there to take care of it.
Yes. So if you look at the expense side, you know, we budgeted 573,000. 600, we've only spent 160,410. It leaves a balance of 413,189. So we're well below that 50% margin. If everything held true to halfway through the year, we're well below that. So the answer to your question is yes. Next department is grounds and parks. I'm gonna let you know right now on the grounds budget. This is one of the budgets that we're kind of dipping into the general funds to make this thing work. The grounds department has done leaps and bounds this year with the subcontracting out for the cemetery being mowed, the Wallace Park, and the park improvements that we are making at the various parks. And we also, you know, purchased a flatbed pickup truck that replaced the old one. So this one, I know the department head is kind of worried about looking at these budget numbers, but we reassured him that regardless of what your budget numbers are, because we jumped into this in the beginning of the year without really any foresight as far as a game plan from the previous administration. So we realize we are robbing Peter to pay Paul to a degree, but at the end of the day, our budget's going to be balanced.
Is that the 19,000 on the large equipment?
Yes. All right, economic development. Income and expense budget. I'm going to give praise to the city administrator for taking on a significant load of his time to promote economic development within the city. Multiple visits during the week and on the weekends with various investors. So we got a lot of fishing lines with hooks out in the pond right now. And we're just waiting to hook one. So with that being said, there's later on, I'll bring up some other issues. I shouldn't say issues, but other opportunities that we may have to help further economic development. Short budget or short page.
Yes.
Go on to the next, the fire department income and expense budget. I'll let you know right now as far as some of the differences that you will see in the budget with the department is due to a change within the department with personnel and volunteers. We have gone from a 9 to 11 member department to 21 member department. And so the budget reflects that. As far as the training, they're actively training and participating and making improvements to their department. The only negative thing would probably that would probably reflect better on the budget if the damage to the garage doors didn't occur as they did. But that's something that
I haven't paid the final bill.
so So that's probably total, probably about uh 12 to 15,000 dollars, that costs city to work on those garage doors, getting them back in shape. The emergency management budget. Very simple. The library budget. Take a look at the income, what we budgeted for the year versus what's remaining. We're standing real good. Looking at the expenditures, we're a little bit less. We did give raises to the staff at the library, and also some other additional expenses that the board approved. But overall, they're in balance. The license office budget. This is what we budgeted at the beginning of the year, but to let the council know, we do now have two backup personnel for the license office with Heather Warnowski and also Alicia Blackwell. So backup. So now our licensed clerk can actually take a vacation, which was kind of a haphazard before having the ability to do that. But overall, the budget is staying good with the margins. The health income budget, as far as materials, expenditures, is right in line with what we budgeted for. So the debt service restricted funds income budget. We're just a hair below the 50% margin. Approximately, $30,000 difference. But on the expenditure side, we are well below budget. That's all the city departments and city summary. The enterprise G&A income budget and expense budget. We have fully staffed the water office. There's probably 3 heads more that's been in that office than in the past. So you'll see a little bit of the difference there that the budget reflects. Probably it doesn't come out of this one. Okay, sorry about that. But under staff expenses,
So the next page.
the next page.
The water office income budget.
Okay,
I have a question on line item number 45. .126-51 meter deposit income, yellow card. Why is that 0?
So I don't have the answer to that, but I can definitely ask Heather and then get back to you.
so Councilman, one thing looking at now, since I see it here in front of me, we did not budget for any type of meter deposit income for the year. And the only reason, without drilling down, the only off the top of my head answer would be because it hasn't been budgeted for somehow. But we can ask the treasurer to drill down and figure out what has happened over the years with that, why it's gone to 0 and why do we keep it in here.
And under office expense, the telephone I know we were having some problems with our different carriers and stuff. But why $1,500? 65.300-51,
So that's what we budgeted for. We haven't used any.
okay.
So with this enterprise, so if the bill comes part, like if the bill is Spectrum per se, and it's part city and part enterprise. The city pays for the whole bill. However, the enterprise has not done a payback yet. It is on my list to do. So that should be completed this week, getting them all together. And then that will show an amount there in December, at the end of January for December.
So then on the next page, we have 65.400-51 meter deposit yellow fund. Refund yellow. Was budgeted for $1,178.28. And that's gonna go up to 5,000.
That's what we budgeted for it. We've only used $1,178.29. We have a remaining balance of $3,821.71. But again, I don't know what the yellow card is, but I can definitely talk to Heather and send you an email or send a council an email.
We're gonna take an average of the meter deposits have been over the last 3 years, say. And put it in as income. If you're showing the expenditures, you need to show the income.
Yeah, so what we need to do, I agree with you, it needs to be visible so we can see it. We need to see how they've been doing it and make sure that's easily identifiable. And if we gotta do that average to put it in there, we'll do that. But I can't answer that question. We need Heather and Water Office to help us with that, unless Brian's got an answer on the meter deposits.
I was thinking that when they took the meter deposit in, they counted it as escrow. So I think it has its own account, and then when they paid out, it should come out of that same account.
So we'll look into it and see.
Note here.
Okay.
Maybe our Councilman Bell on that 45-126-51 on that meter deposit income. It has not ever had a balance besides in 2016 as income.
What was it in 2016?
So it could have been an error as it's $23,000.
Okay, we need to find out.
I can look into that.
Water Office. Income and expense budget. Same the deal on the telephone, and they just haven't been processed for the payback for the city side. So I got a question, as far as the loggers and workman's comp, is that the same deal? They gotta pay back to the city side?
And Water Office it would just be, for this year, Angela. And then we just started paying on Heather and, Melinda should be this month, is that right? Or did we pay for the last month? It's this month.
Okay.
So we should not reach the 3,000.
Same thing with the employee bonding. Okay.
Do we have any employees bonded right now?
Yes, so there is Tim. There's 8. April, Tim, myself. Heather, Melinda, Stacy, Josh,
John,
and John.
Next department, distribution. Income and expense.
Under 45.432-55 scrap income, we've only, well, budgeted $450. I think the city would probably get 2 or 3,000 at least a year.
So our scrap income, so Councilman, what we do is, and it, we can see if it's been broken down, but we do scrap metal. And we divide it between the streets, distribution, city, depending on what department that we apply
What
it to,
is, yeah.
Okay.
what it is, so. I just want to point out, since we've gone to fully staffed to the best of our abilities, let me rephrase that. If you look at the part-time, we have not utilized any part-time for distribution. And we'll roll that over to our regular salaries because we are full staffed. Or I say full staffed. I'm sure the department head will say we can use 1 or 2 more people, but
We put a muzzle on.
yeah. Same thing with the utilities, the electric and gas, that's part of that payback.
So Heather does pay a lot of the distribution, or a lot of the water side, distribution, some of it is ours, or the city has paid for it.
Okay,
So yes, some of it will go back to her.
The healthcare, health insurance is pretty sure soon as. Well,
Yeah, and that's again, part of the payback.
okay.
It was on my list to try to get it done by the end of mid-year and it just.
so where you see those dollars should be on the city side being high. You should see that on the city side being high, but it should,
Correct.
it should balance.
it out.
Booster station maintenance, we budgeted 50,000. We spent 16,000, probably. We haven't paid the latest bill, probably about another $19,000. And I'm gonna tell you right now, with Clinton's help in Pike County Water, that booster station is up and running as designed. There's been issues with that station for a little over a year now, and so we're gonna be way under budget for the end of the year on that, because we've done a lot to that booster station. Put a new tank and bladder in, new pumps, new clay valves and everything, so. PMP income budget and expense budget. PMP is where we produce water. Pump it and produce it, right? We're ahead of schedule on our income side of it. And I'm gonna let the council know right now, we'll be talking about in the work study session. Our administration has seen some errors in our billing process. And we'll bring it up in work session about those errors in billing process. That's gonna be to the benefit of the enterprise and in the city as a whole. So we'll share that. We'll share that during our work session.
Mayor, you need to point out that on the staff expenses for their salaries, that our military intern has been completely free. And his 6 months comes open, January 25th, or this.
January 25th.
January 25th, so that you're gonna see an increase when he becomes before you an intern.
Yep. And so far, that intern has worked out very well for us, a big benefit. It has, provided a lot of incentive and morale for the rest of the employees.
Is that Rufus?
Yes. And part of one of the things that you want to look at here too, is we have major expenses with the E Street water tank repairs of $130,000. And also, the skimmers, at the water plant, and a lot of the improvements that we are making, with our water treatment plant. Just so the council knows, if you follow these things, I beg you all to look at the DNR reports for our quality of water and how it's improved over the last year and a half. Right now, we don't meet any of the ceiling triggers for DNR. We're all within the regulations. In fact, below on the majority of them. So it's very good and pleasing to see.
Yeah, because people, the citizens are kind of, when you get that letter from, kind of saying that we're out of, compliance basically, because of the, where the limits where the chemical should be, it kind of shakes them up. And it'd be good that we don't get that.
Right, right. There's always gonna be doubt in people's mind, trusting a public water source, and I get that. I get it. But just be known that we have taken steps to improve our quality of water, and we'll continue to take steps to improve our quality of water. Wastewater department. Question I have here, it's jumping out at me as far as the sewer sales versus, what we budgeted. It's 45.146-59. Also, to counterbalance that just a little bit, not much, but I want, as far as what we budgeted. So the operations and maintenance of the wastewater, the 135,000 budgeted for income versus the expenditures, is that a transference from the PMP? We'll need to look into that, because that looks like it may be a transference from PMP for the E Street water tank, because that's the expense that we paid for the water tank. I just wonder if that's. Want to look at that. If you look at the expenditure side for the wastewater, humongous difference. We spent quite a bit for the wastewater treatment plant to get it back into compliance with DNR. So we've kind of pulled, some money to make that happen. But if you look at our summary page again, in our summary page, we're right in line. Well, I shouldn't say right in line, but it's I guess my answer to that would be, we have reasons to show the difference.
Mayor, the council needs to note on lab expenses, that the lab fees to test the water have shot up greatly. And it's not reflected in what we budgeted, so that's probably gonna be a concern.
So a question on that I would have for our department is, what would it take them, or do we have to have a third party lab test, or can we actually?
Oh, there's no going around it. We have a lab in Bowling Green, a lab in Troy that we take our samples to. And, depending on what test it is what they, charge and what they do with that sample.
But does that have to be a third party or can we do, can we?
Has to be a third party.
Are both of them comparable in price?
Well, some labs do certain tests and other labs do other tests, so sometimes we only have one option that's close by. On some of the other tests that are compatible, they're about the same price, but there are certain tests that, like, for the heavy metals test, only the Troy facility does it, and, that's an expensive test. Well, the only way we're gonna remedy this is the next time we put the budget together, and then I also have a remedy that I'm gonna bring up during the work session to help cover the cost of some of this testing and the price of making water.
But how often do we have it?
There's, if you look at the list of testing, there's some that they have to do daily, at least 5 times a week. There's some that you do once a week, there's some that you do monthly, there's some that you do quarterly, and there's a handful, the big expensive ones you do every 6 months or a year. But the price of the lab work has gone up a lot. And they kind of have a monopoly on it.
All right, the debt service, restricted funds, income and expenses. The one thing I want to point out here, as far as the American Rescue Fund expense. We don't show it as an income, even though we're sitting on that balance. So we just need to make sure that's,
Prior years.
it is. So we need to show that somehow, whatever's appropriate to. You know, because we're showing it as an expense, but we're not showing, you know, the offset. In fact, we didn't show a budget for that expenditure, but we need to take a drill down and look in that. 65.967-61. So council, that's the end of the 6-month mid-year budget of what our totals were. That's been tallied. I ask for you to please review that. If you got any questions that we need to get further explanation and detail, please submit them to the city administrator and the treasurer and myself. And also carbon copy or CC the council in case they have similar questions, and we'll respond to all so we can go over it during a council meeting. What with Pepping Stone? Yeah. Yep. So any questions from the council on what's been presented? If you think of anything, please email and communicate with us, and we'll drill down. We'll be looking to approve the mid-year budget next Monday, and we want to try to get all the issues resolved. So, and simplified for Monday. All right,
Guys.
we'll give the kids a shower. All right, committee reports, streets distribution. Councilman Sutter.
From the Delaware, South Carolina, and Georgia Street, tax fix jobs. They're still out for bids until December 15th. but Currently, we only have one bid. Tri-County Hardscape, and it's for $10,745. And the cemetery wall has been completed, the repairs on that. 14th and Tennessee, the shoulder work on that, we're still discussing on what we need to do with that. Nebraska Street covered, that is completed. And then consolidation, that is, we did have supervisors for the street distribution, and then we're down to one, we have one supervisor. Consolidated it down to that, so. Where that's at.
Any questions for the streets distribution, Councilman Sutter? Hearing none, infrastructure, grounds, streets, and sidewalk, Councilman Bell.
Riverfront and Town Branch. I saw today where contractor started on the riverfront. Did Brian leave the room?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. You wanna comment on the, did you go down there today? The riverfront?
I haven't. And so the city has started to remove some of the silt that's down there. And that way the contractor can come in and put the concrete apron in. And so that has been done. We just got all the different permits. Not only do we need a Corps of Engineer, we needed a DNR, and we also need a floodplain permit. So I'm learning that we just stack permits on stuff. But we got all those in, and as soon as we got all the city went and started removing silt, getting it ready for the contractor to come in.
According to the Corps of Engineers, the Mississippi River is lower than it's been in the last 20 or 30 years. So it's a good time to get this done.
Right.
Got like
And if we don't do it now, the issue that we're gonna have with the contractor is the long range 10-day forecast is for 50-degree weather, which is important for concrete. So we are praying for nicer weather and no rain, so we can get this completed before the spring rains come.
Really nice. In the Town Branch?
The Town Branch infrastructure mentioned that we have a bid out. We have one bid in, and it's all the bid we have. It's very difficult to find someone to do this type of work. They're gonna have to be in the waders, hauling it by hand underneath the bridges to fix those holes underneath. Just that's a patchwork until we qualify and get accepted for the BRO funds, which is bridge repair off grid, and that's a MoDOT fund. So we're hoping to get those to repair those bridges, because all of them rate a 3. And Tennessee has already had a Bing report done by MoDOT, so that's high on their priority list. But we works on the other one as well, because they are in disarray. 9 is a brand new bridge, and a 1 is they can't believe it's still standing, and we're at 3s.
That's all I have, Mayor.
any questions for infrastructure, ground, streets, sidewalk, Councilman Bell? Hearing none, Councilman Giltner. Public safety and police hiring.
Yes. As the knows, and the mayor and our administrator and the public should know that the police department is the most visible department in the city. And so being the most visible, they are also under the most scrutiny of comments and of criticism. We have had a couple of incidents happen, which the committee was called together in the last 2 weeks. We've had 2 meetings. The mayor was present, the city administrator was present. Mr. Baker was present, Rudy Bell was present, and somebody. I was gonna make a comment, I'll withdraw that. Mr. Sutter was present, and it had to do with a car being driven without license. We took care of the issue. As you know, sometimes issues are not solved immediately with the snap of the finger. It takes time to work through them. The issue with the license has been solved. It is taken care of. And we have been assured that that will not happen again. We have also taken steps that if issues of this kind of how we will handle it in the future. At the meeting, we also, as you all know, we have had a police car totaled. And with 2 people at the academy now that will be coming back and onto the force, we will have to have a vehicle to replace the one that was destroyed. We discussed this at the meeting. The chief checked it out. He could get 2 cars at a certain price, or he could get 1. We listened to the presentation. The committee, along with the mayor and the city administrator, agreed that we needed to go with 1, not 2, to replace the one that was destroyed. In that, we are getting a 2019 Charger. It is here now. We found the budget came for the car came out of the police department. Large equipment, and $10,000 of it came out of large equipment in the police department, and of course the insurance money. We will have the car online. Corey, you know when?
It's already on.
He-
We're using it now.
Okay, the car is being used now. The committee felt that we needed to take advantage of this as soon as we could. And since it meets the requirements of the budget and also is replacing another vehicle, we felt that we should go on and purchase a vehicle. And I think, Mr. Mayor, that we need the approval of the council.
So, yeah, it actually, no, Councilman Giltner, it is within budget with proceeds and is a state bid purchase, I mean, state surplus
Yeah.
purchase.
Yes.
So there is no need to go out for bid or anything as surplus.
Right,
So, yeah, we won't need any approval.
okay. Anyway, the purchase has been made, it is here, and if you have any questions, the committee is here intact. And so get one of them, not me. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Councilman.
Yes.
Ordinance Committee, Councilwoman Sherman.
Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, but, 300s are done and they're ready to go.
300s are ready to go for next week. I think marijuana still needs to be done. I have a rough draft together for marijuana. But I need other money to put on it before.
Now, is that a new quote or is that in the 400 one that was the marijuana part out of 400?
That right now, since we haven't met together again, I still have it, it's written as I wrote it, we have it embedded in the 400s, we haven't brought the 400 yet either. So until someone told me what to do, I wasn't just gonna.
That's what I write that. I do have the 400 printed out and you have them started. And so this week is a no-go for me, I'm sorry. I have family in town and Christmas dinner on Saturday and I can't help you this time with it to be presented for Monday night, the 18th.
I don't think, sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't think we were gonna even try for this one day. I think we were gonna probably wait till next month, do the 400, so that we're gonna go with it.
Okay, that'll work fine. We'll be back for them, so.
That works for me
We'll
too.
get together and I'll tell you what I've got done already, so that's where that stands with it.
So-
These are in the packets.
Huh?
These are in the packets. The 300s are in your packet.
So, council.
No. Oh, they were emailed to you. 300
Yeah,
were emailed to you.
no, I have.
I have mine printed out.
So council, you have bill number 7208, which is all the amendments with the changes listed. And the details, if you need a hard copy, if you don't have a printer to print it out, let the city clerk know. And we'll print you out a hard copy, but the council is charged with reviewing these and bringing any questions. Now's the time to amend it prior to giving it a first reading. So if we're not ready to give it a first reading, that's fine.
We are.
300s, we gave out a hard copy of passwords.
Yeah.
So I think we're ready, but of course,
Yeah.
we don't have a different.
So the big thing is if anyone's not ready,
Yeah.
communicate that and have questions on it. As far as the marijuana one with the chapter 400, there are procedures that we have to follow with the planning and zoning as far as public hearings and notice. We just need to coincide that with our city attorney and the planning and zoning committee. Make sure we don't get ahead of each other. Okay. Any questions on ordinance? Hearing none, economic development, tourism, Councilman Baker.
Yes, I, come in today, me and Ryan both had a meeting. Real quick one, and he's got a lot of stuff going on right now. And we were kind of discussing the fact that, we're still in the Mark Twain development. And we was thinking maybe we should get into, Pike County economic development also. We just thought we'd go out there because, got so much going on, and they're so busy. And, one of the main reasons was the investors have been asking him for like an incentive package. And Brian was saying that him or I either one have any clue with how to do an incentive package, legally. So one of the developments would be able to do that for us. That's something going on. And we had some interest in the school property, is that correct, Brian?
We have interest in a lot of different
And the
properties.
hospital and the old school and then, on the grants, you want to explain those? I think we got one, we reviewed one.
All right, so I'm gonna kind of go back up to the Pike County one. So, Mark Twain Regional takes care of us with the CBG and stuff like that. Their plate's full. The Pike County Economic Development, they take care of all of Pike County. But different communities make donations to them. We asked for some more help. They've done things like, the Pike County Economic, they've done our Maryland Bridge with the county commissioners. They did the little bridge, walking bridge for the school out there on Georgia Street. But Karen Wise Carver is putting together a scope of service for you all to review. The problem is, I know about these different incentive packages for different businesses. I just, other than know what they are, I don't know the ins and outs and how to fill them out appropriately so that we can offer them as incentive, whether that's a SID or a NID or a chapter 100 or a chapter 353. These are all different incentive things to bring economic development to our community to entice people to come in. But I don't know enough about them other than I know what they are. I just don't know how to apply for them and make them legal. So I need help with that. So with the combination of Mark Twain or Pike County economic development, or find someone on our own that works with the city. I mean, that's an option too. But we do have groups that want to come. We need a business incentive program. We're not on the main drag. So we need some type of way to bring them to Louisiana. As far as the grant goes, we've been applying for a lot of little grants and we've been successful on a few. And we've been denied on a few. One of the biggest successful ones is on the second one is the recycling grant. We're going to be getting some really nice disposable units to be put out in our parks and along Georgia Street. Some nice looking ones. I think there's 32 of them that are coming. It's a $4,500 grant that we're awarded. The problem is some of the projects that we want to do, such as a new water tower and several miles of waterway or main lines, are very expensive. We're talking millions, and we would like to apply for those grants. In order to apply for some of these grants, we have to have a survey done of our residents. And these surveys, we must have 80% response rate. And if I missed something.
No, you got it right on.
We have to have 80% response rate in order for us to have a cohesive scientific survey so that we can be awarded these big grants. So right now, without this survey, we can keep going for these little bitty grants. But if you want a big grant that takes care of a buyout of the floodplain, or if you want a new water tower, or if you want some of these things that cost millions, we have to have this survey. So the council is going to have to decide how are we going to entice our citizens to fill out the survey. So it may cost you a little bit of money to incentivize our residents to fill out the survey so we can take maximum advantage of the grants that are possibly provided that we would qualify for. So whether that is you want to take a little bit off their water bill, or if they fill it out, or whatever you all decide, it's strictly up to you all to decide. But we really need that survey filled out, and that's going to happen within the next few months, correct?
It should happen pretty soon. They already got, what they did is we sent them a list of all the residents inside the state, no commercial, no vacant property. Meaning if there's any snowbirds, they're not on it. This is people that we know are home. From that list of people, they take out a subset that scientifically will still represent the whole community. And we only have to get 80% of that subset. So we're talking about 80% of 250 to 300 people, not 80% of 3,000. Or how we to get that point. So that should be more feasible, cost us less money per person, for the entire town to do an incentive of $10 or something like that on the bill. Because if they get that back to us, that survey will be up to these large grants for 5 years. And these grants we do every year. So even if we get a no this year on a grant, we use that same survey for next year. We don't have to, we can do it over and over and over.
And then on the next page, it says public safety grant. This is the grant that we qualified for. And what they did is they made a list of all the different grants that applied. And we were one that made the list that we qualified for this grant. And then they started at their top priority and started paying off these grants. Before they got to us, they ran out of money. So we're still on the list. We're just out of money. And so we can reapply that grant. But we still qualify, and we're still going to put in for it.
So council, the actionable item, when we get to it next week, will be the incentive program for the survey, what we want to do. It was suggest, what's that?
No, that's not the survey.
That's not-
That is a survey, but not the grant survey.
So one of the thoughts that's been floated around was, as far as an incentive is to anyone who successfully completes the survey and turns it in, get $10 off their water bill. So that's a thought, so.
Has that been checked out for legality?
I did.
Used to be, you couldn't touch utilities.
So let me clarify on that. I spoke with Mark Twain and they said that bills from the city were a common way to incentivize people. I've been going back and forth with them. How do we notify them? So when they select the people, they're going to give me a list of people. But can we send out a mailer with their list that says, fill this out, turn this in? How do we even know? We need to know how to track it, that they actually filled it out and make sure we get that 80% response rate. It's 250 people, which 250? Do we want to contact everybody in the town and say, maybe look out for a survey, maybe get $10 off, and then they find out that a half of them don't even get the opportunity? I would rather only contact the people that have the opportunity to get this survey and nudge them along. But they did tell me directly in email, we are allowed to incentivize them, and most common is on utility.
I think we thoroughly need to check, because we try to give incentive to businesses, like give them 6 months off on their, part of their water bill or sewer bill, and the state said no.
Okay, I'll double check for sure. I want to make sure we're doing it right, because I want this survey back.
Or if we can't do that, maybe we can do something like a gift card.
Something.
That would be better probably.
Aren't most surveys anonymous though? You won't actually know who gets them.
I will not be able to choose who they choose, but once they choose them, I will get to know who they are, so I can cold call.
I was gonna say, why don't we just, you go door to door like.
That could work if I'm charming enough to get them to do it by going door to door.
Well, I mean, you got 8 people here that are supposed to be representing their
I agree.
wards.
There's a lot of different ways that we can go about it. We're just
One of
trying to
those
think of
things.
anything.
But in order to get the grants, we gotta get 80%. It's a must, whether it's us going door to door, incentivizing, whatever you all think is best. 80% is the magic number.
We'll double check with our city attorney and the state to make sure what our options are. But the Mark Twain Regional Council did convey that that's a common practice to incentivize.
That's good.
So
I hope it is.
we'll find it out.
We maybe get some of the citizens and people like social media or like news kind of talk about it and get people to fill it out. I mean, that would help out a lot, wouldn't it?
Yep.
I know a lot of people would do it. I mean, I'll get with the
The big catch is,
city administrator and get the information.
the big catch is, we don't know who they're going to select. And so once we know who they select, then we can go target those people.
But if it helps the city, I mean, that's what we're working for, to make the city better.
Well, we put out, you can put out surveys to lead and have the Girl Scouts out helping on it, and that helped a great deal.
How many cookies you have to buy?
So we had one back in the day, we went to our wards. Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
I almost got whipped.
Well, that's the dangers.
Yeah, it was.
Wear your tennis shoes.
We was one tags and it wasn't going But I think that's about all we got on that, on the tourism. I've been kind of reading the state of Missouri thing, there's a lot goes on. I haven't really got nothing right now. I don't know if anyone on the committee's got anything with tourism.
No, we haven't had our meeting's not till, next Monday night.
I was gonna say.
Which is gonna be in conflict with this, well, it's during the day, so we're good, it's at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. So with that, so we'll have our meeting under.
That's all I've got.
Okay, any other questions? All right, housing, health, senior services and disadvantage, Councilman Sherman.
Still waiting on the major, I guess, for the curb cuts. I don't think the signs have been put up down by Piper's, have they? I come by there today and this evening, I didn't see any of the handicap. You said about it in.
We got it in, we just need time. I mean, our employees are pretty stretched thin with a long list of things to do. But they are aware of it and Clinton's already gone. He's very aware of it and it just needs, the curb needs to be painted blue and the sign erected.
And the new form to the building inspector, is that what we learned in the FEMA thing we went to? Is that where the new forms have come from?
No, so residential inspections for commercial property, which is every 2 years. Rental property is for every 2 years. And if you sell your house, you're supposed to get a city inspection. The problem is, the city inspections in the past has been, they would walk through and they would write something down, but there really wasn't any form or letter. I was given on what a previous building inspector has done, and it looked very nice. I did talk to, there has been some issues in this category where we're trying to work through with our building inspector, and sometimes can't read his own writing. So we came up with this form. These are the common areas that are looking for. I did look at some, did talk to some property managers, and they said in the past, they've gotten more descriptive type of inspections. The issue is a city inspection for $45 versus I'm buying a house and I'm paying $800 for an inspection. Those are two different types of inspections. We're just doing a quick safety inspection, and to help the building inspector out, we came up with the most common things that are listed on a safety inspection. And so if they're in good conditions, they'll just check pass. If they're failed, he'll check fail, write some comments, and then he will take pictures. And then they will get a letter that explains what code that they're breaking or what inspection, building inspection listing that they're breaking, and a picture will be attached, and that letter will be sent out to them. But we're not going to do an $800 inspection for $45. So this is what we came up with, and so this will be the initial, and this will be after he does that, he'll take this, put it in letter form, and attach the pictures.
So whoever's doing this is gonna be certified as an electrician, plumber, and everything else, because that's the only way it can be done. They have to have a license.
So our current building inspector is a master plumber. That's his qualifications. In the past, we've had people who did not have those certifications, and you can go back 10 years and we did not have that certification. The person that we have now does have a master plumbers.
So Councilman Gott, to your point, I don't disagree with you as far as qualifications. State of Missouri, there's no certifications for such except for a building inspector. There is a certification for a building inspector. It's through the Department of Public Safety in Jeff City. But as far as, unless you're a union, which there are certifications out the yin yang if you're a union, which is rightfully so, but a lay person in the state of Missouri doesn't require certification to perform those duties. Just so you know, I wouldn't want to hire anyone that's not experienced and have some training and knowledge, but the safety inspection aspect of it is exactly that. It's a safety inspection. You don't have to be an electrician to see that open junction box with the wires hanging out. That's a fail, you know. So I hope that helps, but But there is a certification process for a building inspector, and I would anticipate our building inspector to go through whatever is necessary to attain that Department of Public Safety training.
Any questions on the building inspection? The next one with the landlord meeting in January. This kind of bleeds over into enterprise. The people who rent pay a little bit higher of a deposit than a landowner when they get their water, sewer, and trash. The issue that we have now is when a renter leaves and their deposit is forfeited, and they still have a delinquent balance. And we've been holding on to those balance. According to state statute, that if you have rental property, that falls to the landowner. And the reason why they, several years ago, they had a landowner meeting, and that's why they agreed to leave the deposit for the landowner alone and then raise the renter up $100 to cover that. But with the price of water and services, it's the deposit is not covering that. So it's important that one, we bring in the renter, so the landlord's all in. We're gonna try and schedule that in mid-January. And we go over, this is what a city inspection is gonna look like. This is what we're putting into place. This is the issue that we're having with delinquent renter accounts, and this is what the state law is. And so we're gonna try to come up and one, to inform them, and two, come up with possible solutions, because sometimes the best solution comes from the people that are in the trenches dealing with this stuff on a regular basis. Any questions?
I have a question, and really, you might have, so. Somebody's lived in their house for like 30 years and they put a deposit down on that meter out there. When do we ever get that back?
So if you put a deposit on your meter of your water, whenever you sell and in your services,
That's the only way to get it back.
that's when you get it back.
Dang, I went into this. You ever know they give it back?
All right, no other questions for health, housing, senior services, disadvantage?
I'm good.
Okay. Enterprise, public utilities, Councilman Bell?
Can you give us a update on the waste intake, Brian?
All right, so the waste intake well grading that you approved was done and completed. It looks nice. I encourage you all to go down and visit Richie at the wastewater and see how they put that grading on. Richie said it's really nice. So the door is no longer blocked by this railing, and you can actually walk out there. You can walk on it. You can look down, way down. Kind of gives me the heebies because it's a long ways down. But it's very nice and it's safe. So it's been completed.
And
Money well spent.
And the screen skimmer?
The screen skimmer has been a chore to get them to return phone calls. The good thing is Vandeventer has assumed the Huber company, and they're doing their best to make sure community connection lines are open. Talked with a gentleman named Zach, and he assures me that they are going to be here to take the skimmer apart and fix all the pumps and the brushes and everything that goes with it. They're going to be starting in January. You want me to continue?
Yeah, continue.
The water treatment scraper, that's been a hot issue today. Because you all approved the scrapers. They sent the scrapers. We got the chains in a couple weeks later. The chains were the wrong size, so we sent them back. And when they sent them back, they didn't order the right size. And so today, the right size were ordered, and so we should have them, and we'll get that up and running as far as the sprockets set and the chains. We thought they were ordered but apparently they were not.
They should overnight that and that cost should be on them.
Well, considering that shipping was $7,000. 5 to 7,000. We've already paid for it. As far as the vending shortening of time, we were not allowed to, so you all voted to. Take the 25 cents for the water and make it 50 cents. When we opened the machine and figured out how it works. We realized we can't do 50 cents, it's still gonna have to be the quarter, so what we did is reduce the time in half. So they're paying 50 cents a quarter at a time for half the amount of water, so we did that.
Brian, with this, we talked about it before, but I know a couple council members mentioned it to me. If we can get a cost estimate and price to go ahead and place a meter on that water salesman. So we can actually know how much water we are going through that meter on a monthly basis. And see if it's cost prohibitive or not, but I know speaking with Clinton before, he mentioned that it seemed to be doable, but without knowing for sure.
We need to check and balance on that. Can't check how much water we use, doesn't have a meter.
It has a so the machine has a timer, but it doesn't have a meter.
Right, we need to know how much, so we can, in the month, we can say we use 20 million metric. You know, we can take it times 0.0025.
And we'd like to know if we received $300 in a week, how much water was that?
Okay.
Or are we short some quarters?
Yes. The next thing on the list, if everybody can pull out this sheet right here that looks like this, it's the different water rates. So one of the things that the mayor has said, and I strongly agree with them, that there has to be some benefit to living inside the city limit. Right now, if you look at the rates, there's no benefit of living inside or outside the city limits. So taking that into account and also looking at the price of chemicals are going up, the price of labor is going up, the price of testing is going up, the price of the equipment to make the water and to deal with it as far as sewer goes. That's been very expensive because you all have been voting to improve the water treatment and water waste facilities based upon the 2018-19 inspection and also based upon the 2023 compliance inspection that DNR did. So if you look at this, you can see the history of the different water rates for inside the city limits. And you can see them outside the city limits. And then there was not a category for industrial water for inside the city limits, but there was one for inside and outside the city limits for industrial water usage. So one of the issues that we have, other than there needs to be a benefit for the city and not having an industrial water for inside the city limits, is when you're going through the water bills. And you can see some inconsistency of billing and how they're labeling some things as commercial rate, and we don't have a commercial rate. There's nothing listed in ordinance as commercial rate. You see what one person's being charged versus another. So this breaks it down to water inside the city limits. We don't want to do any increase there. If we did do an increase and kept with the pattern, it would be 0.04306676, but that's if we did an increase. But I'm proposing that we do not, and we keep it the same for water inside the city limits. Water outside the city limits, you see the proposal in green. It's a little bit higher. We took water, industrial water inside the city limits and water outside the city limits. And we split them apart. Inside the city limits, it's a little bit higher, not much. But outside the city limits, it's a little bit higher. All of this is still cheaper than Pike Rural Water District number 1. So with the increase of cost of chemicals, testing equipment, labor, and the rates, I'm proposing for an action of next week to adopt a proposal that will keep the inside residential water the same, so there'll be no increase. Splitting the industrial water inside and outside into 2 different categories. And there'll be a slight increase, and you can see the percentages of the increase that keeps up with the historical of the last 20 years.
Brian, if you would, I want to regurgitate that a little bit.
Okay,
Okay. So under city ordinance, we're obligated to review our water rates in February of 2024. And whether we approve any changes or modifications, it would then be implemented in June, the new budget year. So if we start next week or the week after, do first reading, 2 readings. But the big thing out of this, and I'm going to try to summarize what Brian just said. No water rate changes at all for the residents of the city of Louisiana.
correct.
No changes.
No changes.
Currently, customers that belong to the city that live outside, residents outside, they pay a higher base. And in the middle of the page, it kind of shows you what the base rate is for water for Pike County, or for the residents outside of the city limits, which is a higher base rate than what residents pay. It also shows you what we're proposing for an average family of 4 using 2,000 gallons. Currently, they're paying $71.87. We are proposing with the rate increase that we are proposing, that would go up to $80.68. We took the same gallonage and compared that with the rates that Pike County Water is using. Their current rate would be $84.50, so it'd still be cheaper than Pike County Water. Okay. All right, so that's the residents inside and outside. The big thing, what Brian just said, was commercial businesses in town and out of town have benefited from heavy industrial use rates, which they shouldn't have been. They are paying, their rates should be the same if they're not a heavy industrial user. If they're commercial, let's say County Market, well, that's a commercial building. Well, they're giving them heavy industrial user rates at the reduced rate, compared to a resident. But yet the definition in our ordinance, the heavy industrial user rate only applies to those industries that consume more than 150,000 cubic feet of water on an average per month over a 24-month period.
They don't qualify.
No one inside the city limits qualifies for that, but there are several commercial businesses that are receiving that heavy industrial user rate. That's just from incorrect billing within our water office, and we're addressing that. So with that being said, according to our ordinance, their rates should be the same as the residents, unless they consume more than 150,000 cubic feet per month over a 24-month period. And there's only one industry, maybe 2, but one industry that does meet that, and I'm guaranteed outside the city limits that meets that. However, it's outside the city limits. And if you look at the very bottom table, we are proposing that rate go up from 0.0312.825 to 0.05399930. And that's only if they consume more than 150,000 cubic feet on average over a 24-month period. There's not a system in place If there was, it was not passed on or shared, but the system's in place now to track that and make sure that we charge accordingly. There's gotta be a benefit to having a business or owning property inside the city limits versus being outside. And we don't want to gouge anyone either. But at our cost of producing water, getting full staff, making these repairs, all this costs money, and it should not be on the back of the residents alone. And really, it's kind of been that way. And we're looking to make that change.
So we have to. Revisions to the ordinance.
Yeah, so it'll have to be done in ordinance, and in our ordinances, it's listed that February is the time we have that deadline. We can do it earlier. But the whole thing is, so it's implemented June 1st, give everyone notice. And everyone that we're gonna be applying to is not the residents, it's gonna be the commercial businesses, because their rate is gonna change according to the current ordinance. And the heavy industrial user, so they can be aware of it.
About how much you think it's gonna be extra when they do get it lined out?
We're running those numbers now.
But how much on average is it?
So, the industrial rate on usage, I sourced that from St. Charles County, the city of St. Charles. They're charging 67% more on the actual cubic foot. I don't know how much is it Stark Brothers? I don't know how much they're actually.
Hercules and Stark Brothers, I think, two biggest users of.
Hercules doesn't,
Oh, they don't do it no more?
they don't meet the qualifications.
Okay.
So everybody else on the usage rate is gonna be only the higher base rate and on the residential scale. And then they're paying 20% more on the usage rate. And it's equating to about $9.50 per family of four. DNR says a family of four uses 2,000 gallons per person every month. I don't know those numbers. So an extra $9. When you're looking at that family of four inside the city, they're gonna be paying $63.53, outside the city, $80.68. You get a $20 discount for family of four for living in the city.
Thank you.
But they've had 40 years to benefit from them outside the city. Yeah.
So any questions on the rates? We'll be looking to try to,
I'm just trying to get some
That's just water.
people to understand.
so we're just looking at the water rates right now. But the same principle applies. We got until February if we're gonna look at the rates. Last year, we adjusted the residential rates for water in February. And then we declined to do any changes on the sewer rates last year.
And right now, everyone pays the same sewer rate, doesn't matter if you're inside, outside, residential or commercial, they all pay the same.
I can see it, Stark Brothers is using more water, they wouldn't be using more sewer. Due to the fact what they're using water for.
Any other questions on the enterprise public utilities? All right, hearing none. Community and employee relations, Councilman Gott.
Nothing right at the moment.
So I'm gonna bring it up to the council on this. Our Louisiana Municipal Corporation. We're gonna schedule a meeting for the city council. For the LMC Corporation, every council person is a board member, including myself, the city administrator, the city clerk and treasurer. It's a standalone entity. We received funds back in 2018 from the Louisiana Economic Development, and there's a little bit of a merge and commingle of funds. And we have a balance of approximately $25,000 in there. We have been inactive in the last year and a half. Under our own review, some funds have been spent inappropriately for various things without the board's approval. And all that's gonna be brought back into line. We'll schedule a meeting in January, give everyone a copy of the bylaws, give everyone a copy of the finances and the purpose and intent of doing that. And I'm gonna be making a recommendation in January to not hire, but appoint a director for the LMC to help coordinate the purpose of the LMC. And that is to help with community outreach and community engagement, whether it's through special events or programs or working with other organizations within the community to team up versus divide. And the money there is never intended to be lost, but it can be used as seed money to help promote and gain some of these events and things for the city. So that's coming up. One of the things is the Bluegrass Festival. Jody Reese has done that for the past 2 years. She expressed no interest of continuing doing that. She has been successful doing that and received recognition from the council. However, the Chamber of Commerce has voted, from my understanding, not to pick that up and take off with that. That may be something that a new director with the LMC and the organizations within the community can work together to help keep that alive and keep it going. City survey for citizens, Brian.
The only thing with the Bluegrass Festival, we have a light pencil in for May 17th, 18th, and 19th for 2024 for the Bluegrass Festival. Have no idea.
You got anybody in mind for that?
All right, the city survey, this is basically our report card. It gives us a voice from the people who may not zoom in or doesn't come to the council. They see some stuff going on, but these are the regular people in our towns that we are representing, or you all representing. It has a list of different types of questions. And this will be put up online. And this is just basically our report card, things that they think we do well, things that we should look at. It also serves as an extra set of 1,500 sets of eyes that may be something we don't miss, that we missed, that they picked up on and we should be alerted to. This is not the survey. This is the city report card survey. This is not the grant survey. It has basic questions. We have a little blurb that explains what the city has done, and then it asks questions. And in my years as a state representative, I've had the surveys with the yes, no questions, and I really didn't get very much from that. So when the years that I had the surveys with the open-end answers, that's when I learned a lot. And so we have a lot of open-end questions for people to answer, to maybe to alert us on things that we do really well and things that we need to look at more closely. That's going to go online soon. Cemetery plots. Is there any questions on that?
So we'll bring that up for action to approve submitting a city survey at the next regular council meeting.
And if you have any changes you'd like us to make, just let us know. Cemetery plots. I put a little informational thing on cemetery plots in your packet. This is, and then on the second page deals with our restricted funds for the cemetery. Wiley is currently giving me, going to give me a list of how many plots are available for sale. As the cemetery is filling up, you all will have to make some decisions on whether or not we're going to expand, or what we're going to do, or if the cemetery is going to be closed to new residents. I have a list of all the different towns, as is put on the one of the common sites for cemeteries. I have our price at $452. The average single plot for the United States is $3,581. Average price for a single plot in Missouri is $2,782. We charge $452. You have the different listings there for the different cities. The cheapest one is Riverside, Missouri at $295. Riverside, that's a paupers cemetery. But the average price for Lincoln and Pike County is $500. I list the 3 highest in the state of Missouri. And then I list the 3 lowest state averages and the 3 highest state averages. The thing is, we have constant care of the cemetery. With the mowing, costs us about $3,500 every time it's mowed. And we have to make sure that we have enough funds to make sure that our cemeteries are beautiful. And peaceful place for people to go visit their loved ones. So that is something you need to consider. Mayor, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. So if you look on the last page, these are our restricted funds, perpetual care funds. So every sale of a plot, a percentage of that goes into perpetual care. The problem is, if you look at the total, $116,000 is in total restricted funds. We can't touch any of that. We can only touch the interest it draws. And up until last year, our CDs never been moved or updated until we updated them last year. Because they just haven't been touched. So out of $116,000, figure, let's say we're getting 5%. That doesn't go much for maintaining the cemeteries at all. So, and this is something that's probably should have been addressed years ago to keep up with the cost of living for the perpetual care and the cost of maintaining. So, something that we'll ask the council to look at is to see if there's any adjustments that we can make with the cost of the lots and versus what we're sending out in perpetual care.
You might ask why when they went up, because they just went up not that long ago.
Yeah, and he told me that. He said they just, within the last 2 years. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if it's 400 before and it went up to 452, 200. Okay.
400.
And went up to 400 something, is what we told us.
Okay.
452 currently.
Yeah.
And
So-
the last thing under community employee relations, if nobody has any questions on the cemetery information, is Citizen of the Year for the city of Louisiana. You all have a listing of the criteria and an application. You need to get busy and pick somebody for 2023. I know we're here at the last part of the year. But the way it is worded is for 2024. You can submit someone any time of the year and it will be decided at the end of the year. So for 2023, we're looking for individuals and nominations, and you all are going to be the key people who are active in the city to identify someone that would be deserving of this award.
And this will be presented through the Chamber of Commerce during their annual banquet. So if you know of anyone, anything, please submit. Or anything else for community employee relations? Hearing none, animal control, Councilwoman Cordes.
At this point in time, we've got 4 or 5 cats out at the shelter. And 7 dogs. And looks like. We have returned 2 to their owners. Dumped an 8. And 6 have been picked up and sent to the rescue.
Good deal.
When they take the shirt, you take all first three or
the shelter area. Now, like take the shirt and
Okay,
do the paint. Checking that.
good deal. Anything else for animal control? Tree commission?
I went up to the cemetery. I mean, I guess really it's just till we get a budget to get them cut down and get bids, I guess. When you think, and where are we wanting to plant new trees at? Just different.
Well, actually, some of them are planning on going to the cemetery. I reached out to the conservation department who has free trees to donate. There is, for like one of the places in the cemetery, when you first pull in, there's this old rotted dump that had a sunflower growing out of it this year. To hollow that out a little bit, put some dirt in there and put a rosebud or a dogwood tree in there. Something that's pretty and ornamental that doesn't grow to be a giant. But we want to replace some of the trees that are in the cemetery, and we need to replace some of the trees that are in the parks. So,
Another thing while we're on that, I believe, we need to get one of the city employees to, prune some of the smaller trees. The ones that are like 10 to 15 feet, take some of the dead branches out, cause some of the trees are just wild.
so which trees are those? 'Cause we got a lot of trees.
As you're going up, around the, circle, I believe. Yeah, there's 2 or 3 there.
The circle of the cemetery?
Yeah, well, that's where the soldier is. You can see the trees.
Over area. The common ground.
They're not too tall, I guess maybe 10 feet.
We touched on that the other day.
20
We just
minutes
gotta get
tree,
somebody get them bid and cut it down.
Prune them up a little bit.
So I like for the grounds department to actually list the trees and stuff that needs to be removed. And give us a list, and then we'll go out for cost comparative.
There's 4 trees that have already been identified.
The one big one's already painted yellow.
3 of them have been marked with a orangish yellow
Yeah.
circle and an X. They're very large trees. One of the large trees that has one live branch and the rest of it's all dead. It's in a place that it's gonna be hard to get someone to touch it. In talking to the grounds department, he said that the best way is to remove the stones out of the way, drop the tree, and then replace the stones. Because right now, as it lays, we can't find anybody that's gonna touch it. And it's a
You
big-
can't get to it with a bucket truck.
The street department doesn't wanna touch it, ground department doesn't wanna touch it.
I got one big walnut tree. I'll see if it's been marked. I'll get with you.
Is that in the cemetery too?
Yeah,
Well, most tree climbers won't do dead trees, 'cause they don't get them.
All over.
all right, miscellaneous business. I'll be short with this council. So speaking with the city attorney, we are looking at producing an ordinance that will require any of these raffle machines that we know as gaming machines to require permitting, which would require the owners of the machines. And if it's not the property owner, it's got to list the actual owner, serial number, and the revenue it generates on a periodic basis. And a permit that we're looking at right now, the ballpark figure we're looking at is $250 per machine annually. We might be breaking ground on doing this, which is fine, because it needs to be addressed. Because right now it's a cash business that even our Department of Revenue in the state of Missouri has no control over. So, I like to have that ordinance and stuff for you to review. It won't be next week, probably be in January during the work session. But Mary, our city attorney, is working on that. Brian, on the Pike County taxes moving forward.
All right, so in your packet, you have a sheet that looks like this. At the top, it says Pike County to collect city of Louisiana personnel on real property. Currently, we send out a bill that's due December 31st. We have a long list of people who are delinquent in paying their taxes. We do have ordinances that deal with no services or permits or goods from the city if you owe back taxes. The problem is some people are receiving those goods and services and we haven't acted on them as far as shutting off their services because of back taxes. So one of the proposals is to go to the commissioners and schedule a meeting with the county commissioners and ask for them to collect our city taxes. They have a little more teeth in their collection process that we don't have. you don't pay your county collections, you can't get your driver's license or your license plate tags. And after 3 years of non-payment, they'll put your property up on the courthouse steps, and we don't have that ability. This is what we currently have. We think when we contacted other counties that collect city taxes for them, there's usually a 3% cost that the county will take. That seems to be the average. I've seen it as high as 5%. But we're gonna go and ask for 3%. This is something that you all will have to agree to allow me to go to the council, the commissioners meeting to propose this, if this is something that you're interested in. And two, if you do give that permission, the commission will have to vote and the collector will have some buy-in on that. When talking to the collector, she's not against it, but she's not for it either. She wants more information. And so this is the information on this sheet that she's asked for.
Have you considered putting it in the paper?
Well, in order to put it in the paper, we can do that,
Yeah.
but I need your direction to put that in there.
Well, my thoughts on this, that these individuals have been neglecting payment for years. I just like to see us go through the Pike County. And they have more, like you said, they have more teeth.
They have more teeth than we do.
Do they currently collect for any towns in Putnam?
According to our collector, that no, they do not, but they are aware that other counties do. And they haven't ruled out the issue, but they haven't granted it either. So, I mean, we would be the first in our county to present a proposal to the county commissioners to add us to their realm.
Because we've got people in this town that don't have to pay their taxes.
Well, when you look at it, we're just slightly under $300,000 of uncollected taxes over the last 20 years. It's quite a
If
bit.
we want our money, we need to go to Pike County. That's my thought.
What if Pike County doesn't want to do it? I mean,
Well, then we're back to square one, but this is a proposal.
And there's other options too, but the best option on the table is probably Pike County. If they'll do it and if we can agree to the cost. If not, there are other options we can look at as far as even bringing back old city stickers and put on your car. $1.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's gonna be an actual item for council meeting.
You want it on next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause when was you tentatively wanting to meet with them?
Well, I'd like to do it in January, February to get the ball rolling, because we'll have to have everything ready for October of 2024 for collection of October personal and real property taxes that the city has. On that same round, tracking delinquent money owed to the city. That deals with liens, that deals with delinquent water, and that also deals with taxes. I'm gonna turn that over to Charles. And you'll have to come up here.
Charles, I don't wanna rush you by any means, but I just, if you would.
It was in your email. There's 3 documents I put together, merged them into one. Basically has everybody that either owes taxes, what years, liens, what property address is all related to property address, names, amounts, and years. What they can do then is if they come in for new service, they can search as one document, control find, search a name, search an address, it's in one document. You got anything on there, you gotta pay that before you get services. We haven't decided if we're gonna go backtrack, but you can't get anything.
So we're trying to put some teeth to it.
Right, you wanna keep your rental property up and going? Pay the utility bill, pay your back tax. And they can search it right where they can.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
That went, a lot of work went into that. So
Yes.
our system was so antiquated. So he had to produce another database to make that happen. All right, audit.
So the one auditor that decided not to tell us to take a hike, said they were gonna give us a scope of service. And they were supposed to have it for today. We've reached out to them the last 3 days and they have not returned our phone calls. So we gave them a scope of service. We just need for them to accept. and put a price tag on it for you all to decide. If we get that scope of service and a price tag, I'll bring it to you, next week. And that's all I have on that. We've already covered the budget. And the last thing is, thanks to, the work of Charles and Alyssa and myself, the IRS penalty that we received for, not doing, a payment for, that was on time has been waived. So that, I think it was $1,900 that we would have to owe the IRS. We won our abatement, and they have granted excusable or abatement of that penalty that we were supposed to pay.
As an employee payroll taxes.
Correct.
All right, any questions? Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Pose like sign. I'll call the special council meeting to order. For Monday, December the 11th, immediately following the work study session.